I'm Dr. Riley with Connected Chiropractic, and today we're going to be looking at a little shoulder routine that we do with all of our patients who come in with shoulder problems. To begin, we're going to look at what the shoulder does, and so there's a couple different movements that it's really designed specifically to do, and we're going to demonstrate here on Dr. Bays. So first of all, let's go ahead and go through the basics. We're going to go through shoulder flexion. So I'm going to have you externally rotate your arm, and we're going to lift it as far up in the air as you can. Fantastic. Now we're going to bring this backwards and go into shoulder extension. Now we're going to rotate our hand as far as we can outwards. That's external rotation. Now we're going to rotate inwards. It's internal rotation. We have abduction coming across and vice versa. Adduction coming across and abduction coming out. So with that being said, now we're going to go through a basic examination process that we go through here. Starts with just a visualization of the patient's posture and kind of how you move. So we're going to start with your right hand. Actually, I'm going to have you turn around for me. Cool. With your right hand, I'm going to have you reach over top of your head like you're combing your hair, and we're going to touch our shoulder blade on the opposite side. Fantastic. Let's go ahead on the left side to do the same thing. Fantastic. So the cool thing about this little test, and you can do this at home, is when you reach overhead, you have to flex your shoulder, you have to externally rotate your arm, and you have to flex your elbow. So once you can accomplish that, now we have to look at shoulder extension, internal rotation, and we're going to test that here by going underneath your back. So I'm going to have you reach underneath your back and touch a shoulder blade on the opposite side. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead on the left side, same thing. And let's do that right side one more time. So if you could tell from this video that her right side doesn't quite come up as high as her left side, this would be something that we would look at to see maybe she's having some shoulder pain, or if she's having shoulder pain, this could be pointing us in the direction of something that we need to evaluate a little bit more in depth. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to go ahead and change positions here. All right, now that we've determined that she has some stiffness on this right side, we're going to go ahead and look at this right shoulder a little bit more in depth here. So understanding the structures around the shoulder is kind of the key to figuring out where problems are. And so we kind of went through the basic range of motions while she was standing. Now we're going to go ahead and test them individually to see where the limitation is. So if you remember, when we go underneath our back, we do shoulder extension first. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to have you go here, and you can start right there. I'm going to have you raise that up in the air as high as you can. Fantastic. And we can bring that back down. And that looked actually really good to me. Just relax this for me. I'm going to test the same thing. We're looking at about 45, 50 degrees with this, so she kind of clears that really easily. Now we're going to go ahead and look at shoulder rotation here. So I'm going to hold your arm just like this, and I'm going to have you externally rotate your arm this way. And then after you're done with that, we're going to internally rotate your arm that way. Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead and externally rotate. And that looks great. Cool. Now let's go back down. And this looks a little limited to me. So interesting thing about the shoulder is that we look for about 150 degrees of total arc in the shoulder. And if you can see from her, she probably gets maybe 100, 105 or so going into external rotation, and then going into internal rotation. She kind of hits a wall here at maybe like 60, 70 degrees. And so she's a little bit off of that total arc that we'd be looking for. So knowing that she has a little bit of internal rotation mobility restriction there, it's going to give us a window to kind of go look at some of this musculature to figure out why she's experiencing that tightness. So there's one last thing we have to check with the shoulder, and that's your thoracic spine. We have to see whether you have the range of motion in your thoracic spine which can support your shoulder to move freely without having to compensate and kind of create altered movement patterns elsewhere. So we're going to do that right now by looking at her thoracic spine. So first we're going to have you reach behind your back with this right shoulder, and I'm going to have you rotate as far as you can to that right side and open up. Perfect. So I'm actually going to come over here, and I'm going to reach through your shoulder here, and I'm just going to feel the same thing here. Good, and that actually feels pretty good. So let's go ahead, arm back down, and we're going to do left side. Same thing here. Cool. And go ahead and turn, and that looks even better than the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and test this for good measure here. Perfect. So with her, Thoracic spines really moves great. We're going to be looking at a shoulder internal rotation limitation here. In order to figure out exactly what's going on, we're going to go and dive into some musculature and kind of figure out exactly what the problem is. But I just wanted to do this video to show you guys kind of what we do for shoulders and kind of how we come to the conclusions that we do. From here, we're going to have to look into more specifically about her case, where her muscles are at, kind of figure out what the underlying problems are. And that's kind of the next stage of what we do here. And that's a video for another day. But for now, I just want to do a general intro into shoulders and kind of give you a vision about what we do here in the office. So with that being said, I'm Dr. Eiley, this is Dr. Bays, and we are doctors here at Connected Chiropractic. Have a great day.